So I didn't realise until like literally 2 minutes ago that I called yesterday or the last video comic book review video when it was actually a haul video. So I'm an idiot. Yeah, I've read the books that I showed off in the haul video, I called a review video, but now I've changed it, it's a haul video. But yeah, I've read them, I'm gonna talk about them, and I'm gonna try and talk about them as quickly as possible. You know how this usually goes, it usually takes me about half an hour. There's 6 books that I'm gonna be reviewing, and you know what they are from the last video that I did, those of you that have seen it. First book that I'm going to be talking about, Tony Stark Iron Man #4. I did not get this, really. I didn't. This just wasn't good. It wasn't a good story. So Sunset Bane, who was in the second issue of this, is, from what I can tell, going to be an overarching villain throughout this. No, wait, there's one cool moment. One cool moment in this entire issue, and it's where Tony Stark has a moped, and the moped becomes his suit. The moped becomes his suit. So basically the main gist of this is Sunset Bane, a villain for this, I guess, arc series. She's a villainous character. Anyway, she's kind of been in 2 issues. She was in issue 2, now she's in this issue. She has engineered a dating site for, but it only seems to be used by Stark Industries people. It only seems to be available to Stark Industries people, or Stark Unlimited people. All of this is a big ploy to, like, invade and, you know, take over the company. Of course it doesn't work, because they get beaten at the end, but it's kind of a stupid premise. Kind of something you'd find in a kid's comic. Which is a bit of a shame, since the last few issues have been so on the money. And the one good thing that this does is it does focus more on Tony Stark, and there is a fun chemistry between Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne. It is a bit quick how they, you know, hook up, but it's a comic book, I can't complain too much. But yeah, I just think that the overall premise for this issue was a bit stupid, and, you know, doesn't really move the plot forward any. It's just kind of a filler issue to introduce a love interest, and I guess get a bit more character to the side characters and Tony Stark himself. Again, not my cup of tea, but who knows? If you like filler stories, Iron Man #4 is, you know, it's good. If you don't like filler, like most people, this is just going to be, you know, a throwaway issue. Amazing Spider-Man #6. This is the start of a new story arc. I didn't not enjoy this, but I also didn't enjoy it. It was just fairly middle of the road. Nick Spencer's back to, shooing in a load of jokes, or shoving in a load of jokes into his books. Almost every panel has a joke, and none of them are really that funny. We do have a bit with an art style change. That was cool, but yeah, basically the premise of this is, if I haven't said this before, Peter Parker's new roommate, or one of his new roommates, is Boomerang. And Boomerang is a villainous character. He's kind of going on the straight and narrow, not really, but he's trying to perceive through the public eye that he's going through this straight and narrow. In one of the previous issues, Boomerang actually stole something from Wilson Fisk. I'm not sure what it was, but he stole something from Wilson Fisk. And Wilson Fisk is basically just trying to, kill him. And so, this issue is just kind of a fun issue where Boomerang takes Peter Parker to the bar with no name, which is the bar where all the supervillains hang around. And they have a Spider-Man trivia night. Of course, Peter Parker is really good at Spider-Man trivia because he is Spider-Man. So they end up winning the prize. But at the end of the issue, every supervillain that's in this bar gets a text from Wilson Fisk saying Boomerang has a bounty on his head, and that bounty is undisclosed. So the issue's fun. It's not really that funny, but it tries to be. I think Nick Spencer sees himself as funnier than he actually is. But the issue's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I think this is just fan service for people that liked the Superior Foes series, and it's mainly just a story that Nick Spencer probably wanted to write, and now he gets to write it, so good for him, I guess. Next up is Captain America number 4. It is a bit funny that Captain America has so much to go up against in this. He's got like a cabal of villains, including Baron von Strucken, Kingpin, and Ezekiel Stane. He's also got Selene to take on, and a new villain is introduced in this issue in the form of, what's her name? Something Lukin. I know it's the wife of Alexander Lukin, who you may or may not remember as the guy who, Alexa Lukin. And during that scene, Sharon Rogers is like, Alexa, this is so sad. Play Despacito 2. No, that doesn't happen. Sharon Rogers has been kidnapped by this Alexa Lukin person, who is the wife of Alexander Lukin, who you may or may not remember was the guy who brainwashed Bucky and turned him into the Winter Soldier. Apparently he also brainwashed Sharon Rogers, which is something that I missed. I didn't read that story, but I read the Winter Soldier, which was amazing. I think they're going to do something similar again, but with this. And with Ta-Nehisi Coates writing, which I'm not against. I like Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's a good writer, and he knows how to write a solid Captain America story. But yeah, I'm really digging this. We have a fight between Captain America and Taskmaster, which was amazing, because it's kind of cool to see two different variations of Taskmaster, where in this he's played as very serious. He doesn't actually say anything. It's just we have Captain America's internal monologue of the actual fight. So we have him like giving commentary on what moves Taskmaster's using and where he took them from. He's like, I've seen his styles on Moon Knight, on Spider-Man, on Daredevil, He's giving me a little bit of Iron Fist. He's giving me a bit of myself. So yeah, it's really, really fun, and it's a really cool issue. My only problem, the only reason why it's a bit lower on the list is we're not getting a lot of meat. We're getting a lot of action, not a lot of story. I feel like we need a bit more story to go with the action. We've kind of seen, we're told a lot of stuff, but we're not shown it, if that makes any sense. Like, we're told that the guy behind all of this is General Thunderbolt Ross, but we don't actually see how he found that out. That just might be me not remembering the last issue quite very well, but who knows? I just feel like they're not like giving us the full story. It's just like the best bits, which, you know, they are. You know, it is a good story. It's a solid story, but it's not. You know, it's not blowing my socks off yet. Speaking of something that is blowing my socks off, Doctor Strange #6. This did a complete 180 of what I expected it to be. So, there are two Doctor Stranges. One fake, one real. We are shown that the one that was in space was, of course, the real one. And the one that's been in the Sanctum Sanctorum this whole time, that is actually an old apprentice of Stephen Strange, of the Sorcerer Supreme. And she like sacrificed herself in some big battle, and she's been trapped in this other dimension for a really long time. And Doctor Strange seemingly forgot about her, and seemingly forgot who she was, and that's why she's out for revenge. That's basically the full story of this. That's all we get. But that's what we needed. We needed the first issue to kind of tell us what the fuck is going on, because none of us knew. And this is a really useful issue, and it's not filler in any way. There's action, there's like intrigue, the cliffhanger at the end is a real cliffhanger. It kind of shows us the power that this like new-ish villain has. And there's also a scene with Damon Hellstrom where he's seemingly killed by this new villain, where she's masquerading as Doctor Strange. So yeah, I have a feeling that this will shape up to be a really cool storyline. Next up, Venom, #7. Yeah, for the first week, Venom is not my pick of the week. That does not mean that this is any worse than any of the books than any other previous issue of Venom. It does not mean that it's taking a dull. It just means that my pick of the week is ultimately better. But yeah, this went in a direction that I never expected it to go. So after the events of the last issue, Eddie Brock, seemingly dead, has no connection with his other. That's not because the other is gone. That's because the other, or the symbiote, is still attached, but has lost all semblance of a personality. What that means is that the Venom symbiote is just that. It's just a goo that forms into a suit. It will still obey commands, but it's not a living, breathing, thinking thing. Which is a cool, interesting way to go. But we see that Eddie Brock has been captured by this mystery figure who was shown quite early on is actually the Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, who, if you're not familiar, is evil. He's not a good guy. Some may debate if he's actually a good guy in the 616, but he's just a guy who found himself on the good side. So yeah, so it seems like our big bad for this story arc is, you know, the Maker, Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, which I can get behind. It's not someone that I thought Venom would ever come across, but it makes sense if you really think about it. And then at the end of the issue, Venom or Eddie Brock is told that Flash Thompson is dead. This is something that the reader knew, but Eddie Brock didn't know. And it's kind of a revelation to him. And from the next issue, it seems like this arc is going to be about bringing back Flash Thompson, and kind of reintroducing him to the fold. And by doing that, like, Venom's going to go to hell, essentially. I cannot wait for the next issue. This issue was really good, and, you know, yeah, I'm really excited for the way this story is going to shape up. And my pick of the week this week, if you saw my last video, you already know. It's Punisher. It's Punisher, baby. Issue number 2, or issue 230, if you're going by the legacy numbering. I know I said this in my last video, but that is Dolph Lundgren. That just looks like Dolph Lundgren. I loved this. I really did. It's all action all the time, but it doesn't skimp out in the story either. We're told more about Baron Zemo and his motives and what he wants to do and why he wants to do it. But that's all at, like, the opening 2 pages. The rest of this is a big fight. Baron Zemo has put a bounty on Punisher's head after he killed the Mandarin in the last issue. But that's not who comes after him first. Who comes after him first are some of the more street level characters that Nick Fury has called in. So first off, it's Iron Fist and Luke Cage. You think, oh, they'll make quick work of Frank Castle. And they don't. Frank Castle makes it out with hardly a scratch on him. So he gets on a train, and who's on the train waiting for him? No one but Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil's going to be the next issue. And the big, like, cliffhanger ending is that we see on the outside of the train, everyone that's been kind of hired by Baron Zemo is now on the train, or outside the train. So we're going to have a big train fight in the next issue. Why is it always a train? Why is it that they always have a fight on a train? Why is that? I don't know. But I love this. It's my pick of the week, and it is amazing. Michael Rosenberg is smashing it with Punisher at the moment, and this is just showing how good he can write. So those are all the books that I picked up this week, all the books that I read this week. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts and opinions on these books, and what books you picked up this week. Any that are different to mine. Yeah. I'm trying to spruce up these outros a bit more. So, let me know. Comments below. And also, give me some more questions for the Q&A I'll be doing tomorrow. Still need some more questions for that. And, yeah. Check out social media links in the description below. And like, subscribe, share, all that usual lovely stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be up tomorrow. Bye.